actually land because I didn't want to. I didn't want to land on them though.
If they don't go there, they might go to the fire station and fly east to.
Yeah, I was about to say we could go there.
Where we went.
You got gas
With Havoc Diff.
What a way to kick things off. Locked into that drop spot, and we're going to be seeing who will be landing where. I was talking about, hey, will we potentially get Saravan City? Well, we are hovering just over the suburbs, and it looks like Havoc and Co. have decided that this is where they want to go. Now, friendly reminder, Captain Havoc is joined alongside Huskerrs and Unrational, have previously played together on a multitude of teams, tons of experience, and now they're going to bring it to Urzikstan alongside Havoc.
Yeah, it's one of those teams I was talking about before where it's like, okay, Huskerrs, Unrational, crazy amount of chemistry. Technically not Urzikstan comp trio though, you know what I mean? Like they aren't playing together for Urzikstan. Huskerrs is playing with Tommy and Zsmit for most competitive tournaments. They actually won the Optic event, so already a ton of success. But because Zsmit and Tommy are joining Mizu, you've got Huskerrs playing with Unrational and then playing with Havoc. I still think this trio is one of the trios to watch for this tournament. Huskerrs has been moving different on this map, in particular rocking that sniper role for a team, and especially a team like this, running that cat, being the one sniper that is allowed per team on this trio. Havoc's been putting in a lot of hours as well. This could be a team to watch.
We've already kind of found a team on the rooftop, and that MCPR does connect, drops one, kind of double down and looking for another. That's going to be a knock on to Sin, so see if they're going to be able to capitalize on it. Now, friendly reminder, you're going to be like, oh my god, wait, that's not a, new weapon, and we just said MW2 weapons are banned. Well, you know what, ground loot's fine.
That's exactly right. If it's ground loot, it's cool. We're going to be looking to grab loadouts as fast as possible, but as we lose one, looks like Sin was able to answer back and take down Unrational. Huskerrs trying to grab a knock, but no, 2 players downrange, grab Huskerrs, sends him to the gulag. Immediately, reminder, by the way, read up any way you can get back into this map aside from gulags or buys is essentially taken out of this custom. So a brand new game, a brand new format. It's going to be fun to see what these teams are able to do with that format, but keep in mind that going to Gulag this early is actually a pretty big issue in comparison to something like pubs.
Ooh, yeah, so we'll see what happens to them if they survive the Gulag, but they were kind of in an interaction with Jaffa, Sin, and Callum. Now we turn the tides and look over at Lily, Boss Lady Lily, for those of you that might not be familiar. But Lily and Scripta have played in I don't know how many co-ed tournaments throughout the history of competitive Warzone, and now find themselves here in the mix, bringing in a third, but for Huskerrs in the Gulag. Looks like he's going to be matching up. Is that new Gulag, if you're not familiar with it, and kind of anything goes, right? Trying to utilize the C4, make that connect, but no hit markers will happen.
Yeah, Gulag is hyper important with this format, and Huskerrs has a nice advantage. Gonna go to the center, hold down the extraction point and get a ton of loot to boot, but in trouble because he has to reload. Down on health and comes back around the corner. Deus Amir grabs the victory. Just delayed his advances. All he needed to do was just push that equation when he got Deus a little bit weak, and he probably wins that. But Deus Amir got 4th in World Series of Warzone, was representing Mexico, and is playing with 2/3 of his trio team as well. So watch out for that squad playing with Don Lucky this time around as we swap over perspectives, and all of a sudden, FaZe Testy is in trouble hanging on by a thread.
Finally making it into the little bit of a shed here over on Island. I love that they're utilizing the most wanted early on to try to get as much cash as possible, and there you go, it comes in. Let's hear what they decide to head over towards. They want to hit that buy station. Now, granted, one of the really cool things about Urzikstan are all of the horizontal zip lines to allow you to get from different areas on the map. More specifically, this island over here by Shaheen Manor. And now we have to get to the water and across, but electing to... Oh, yeah, get that, Lodi. I was curious to see if they were going to Michael Phelps it or if they were going to try to go some other way.
Yeah, the water play is definitely important. Again, luckily with the Urzikstan, everybody's got a pistol should they get into a little bit of trouble here, but we're going to continue to rotate around perspectives. Again, trying to showcase everyone that we can, and looks like a quick pickup here on the side of Team Adore, picking up Zsmit out in the open, and then just farming a full team of 3 that had little to no cover to work with.
Good moves by them. It was a team wipe onto Z Smith, so I'm sure they're all going to be burning through their gulag. Right now, Symphony finds himself in the gulag, which from my understanding, when I was tuning into FIFA's stream earlier, they were utilizing Symphony as cannon fodder on MNK, and then they were going to close the distance and try to bait him out, but seems like the bait did work, and now in the gulag, must find his way out. Plenty of shots connecting, but not necessarily going to be a full on to Z Smith. Now, granted, he could decide to ascend if he really wanted to, but it will connect.
Wow. Big win against Z Smith, to be honest. Z Smith, one of the best in the lobby. Obviously, top of Urzikstan earnings, technically, because of his recent success in the one big tournament, but Symphony gets the better of him, just playing the slow game and just chipping away at his health. Now, Aydan's gonna have to do a lot of the same, and goes down as well to Nick on the other side. A tough loss, just got picked out through the smoke, probably with a little bit of aim assist help.
At first, that was pretty disgusting, and I thought it was going to happen as we tune into Clamp T and Co. But see what happens for Aydan in the time being. They lost out to QLC, and that was something we were talking about, Goes. You told me in chat, someone goes, best POV will be QLC, Clutch Belk, and Slacked. So far, so good for them, staying alive from the gulag.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's anybody's game. Again, 12 drops, and we're going to be learning along the way. And so when we're watching different perspectives, like, watch out for not only metas, but also rotations. Like, you've got to be constantly popping UAVs. You've got to constantly be gaining information as you're going. And at the same time, you're probably going to see something that people think would work because it works in pubs, not work in customs. And here's an example of that. Go Clamp. Sage trying to cross out in the open here underwater and quickly getting picked off by Super Evan from distance. Super Evan, that team is one of the trios, one of the 6 trios playing with their comp team. That's Super Evan, DJ, Moss playing together on the other side with Braxton. So watch out for that trio, already grabbing an early pick as we swap over to Kaylee.
Checking in, Deej, Super Ev, and Co. Now, a lot of things happen post-World Series of Warzone, right? And that in particular was kind of the breakup of one team and the formulation of another. That in particular, Ebates and Co. used to play alongside DJ Moss. Well, now it's DJ Moss, Braxton, and Super Ev, and they are going under fire. Symphony, FIFA, and Lennon are back in action, and despite everything that Super Ev has tried to obtain, he will fall down. The self-res does come through, and they're looking to reposition.
I just want to get to the fire. I don't really want to get through.
Looks like Adrian, Aydan, and Cranks are pushing the equation. Grabbed an early team wipe there on Clumsy. That's Face Testy, who was under fire earlier. Likely, Aydan's squad hunted them down. I was able to clean them up after a little bit of a chase. You see, Aydan's already on 3 eliminations. So again, without Codcaster, we're going to have to be popping around perspectives and doing a bit of math, but this is a great start in customs, especially customs of this caliber of competitors. When you think about Warzone, you think about the zones of activity, we always talk about it. If you can farm up kills in the early game, you can use your mid game to set up for the late game to grab the multipliers. Again, there are kill multipliers in place depending on what place you get in the lobby. So that's going to be your key to success. If you have to spend the mid game trying to farm kills, you're probably going to be in trouble when it comes to the end game being set up in the right position. As you can see, Horrid here with Nano, they're kind of playing edge of zone early in the game, not the end of the world. When you get to the mid game, you're likely going to be held by several teams that rotated much earlier than you did.
Our eyes out. They just had a UAV go up, a couple dots in the distance, and Nano takes some shots, but gets caught off guard from the left. Immediately, their teammate will smoke it out and hit that res as quickly as possible. This is why smokes are so vital in Urzikstan. You think of the kind of the prevalence that they had, even in Al Mazrah, even in Caldera, but Urzikstan in particular, there's still a good chunk of space in between a lot of these POIs, and the verticality, once you kind of get embedded deep into the cities upon them. But for Kaylee Renee, very excited to see her competing alongside today. I'm curious to see how she does. Gets duked out right there, goes down, but Scummin does answer back, get the trade. Hopefully they have not burned through their gulags thus far, but we'll have to check back in a minute. But let's tune into Scummin's POV.
It's a big trade by Scummin. It's going to be the key to a lot of team success. But now Scummin is all by himself. You can see the LMG in hand. This is going to be a staple in most players' hands during customs and even pubs. really doesn't even lack that much mobility in comparison to the LMGs of old. And I knew you were calling it the PKM earlier. That's what I call it as well. But technically in this game, I believe it's called the Polmiat, something like that. We'll just
Sure, something of that.
We'll just go with the LMG. Yeah, you can see it on the screen. We'll figure that out. But definitely going to be one of the mainstays in a lot of these players' hand. Hits like a truck, and somehow, even though it is incredibly unwieldy, still has decent mobility attached to it. So watch out for some of these kind of mid to mid long range fights with this LMG, and maybe beaming a couple people out of the sky. We're going to try at the very least. A live ping from a teammate, unfortunately, does not help too much. And we've lost Dongi in the gulag, so a quick buy needs to happen shortly.
Kaylee does have that cash available to make that happen. So as long as they reunite, get back in, hopefully Kaylee can grab their loadouts as well from the ground. But for now, Scummin doing a lot of pressure. Yeah, immediately pinging it out. So it looks like Kaylee might be that sniper for the trio.
Yeah, and again, only one sniper allowed per team. So you're going to see likely the cat in most players' hands that are going to be sniping for their squad. But you can certainly trade that sniper around. You can just only have one per squad. And it's going to be key to kind of opening up lanes. So you can see a lot of these players using LMGs, but the sniper could get that one knock you need to have kind of an access lane that you can push forward and grab a full team wipe. You can see Swagg is saying, let's move forward. They don't have the snipe down. They don't have necessarily player advantage, but they've spotted some prey. And, well, somebody else was scoped from behind, taking out pins, and a quick pick on pins means Swagg's gonna be in trouble. He's gonna smoke out the duo of Swagg and Booyah. Thousands of hours of experience playing together in tourneys and in pubs. Still alive and grabbed a bit of cover here underground.
Restock underway, so we can kind of get a good chunk of cash, but for now, yeah, Swagg, that's unfortunate. Sometimes it do be like that, especially in Urzikstan. A lot of people like to play to the high ground, to the roofs, and with one sniper per team, if you're not smoking and covering your rotations even between buildings, you will get caught out like that.
Swarm favored SMG. Has a high value amount of mobility, but a lot of those mobility builds is probably not being used today in custom. Super helpful, but mostly helpful trying to outplay players in pubs and swinging around corners 1v4. You're not going to be doing that as much in customs, especially with the caliber of players here. But Swagg is kind of playing edge of zone here as our fourth circle is beginning to close. Does get a bit of audio cues here, Tiff, and wants to play this with Booyah. Again, this is going to be the nature of the game in customs. If you don't watch a lot of customs tournaments, you don't necessarily want to be body stacking, but you want to be able to help each other out in encounters like this. If you can catch a player unaware, fantastic, but you know their teammates are going to be close by. You've got to be able to play trades. Saw Scummin trying to do that earlier.
I'm watching Zip.
Ooh. I like this play out of him, especially with that ring starting to close. Just patience is a virtue, but one bullet at least is needed. And it doesn't matter how many you use from that bullpup PKM. It's not going to happen. And a little airstrike for that to be needed. And now the high alert kicking in. You give away your position. You go down. You have the self-res, but no one is near you to kind of chuck a smoke and help you cover that. But the fact that Swagg gets this off, it's really clutch.
Yeah, likely that's the teammate of whichever player was trying to fly away using that zip. Swagg made a very high IQ play, heard the footsteps and knew because they're edge of zone. They're going to be hitting the zip line. I hopefully can grab that pick, and unfortunately just can't quite connect the remaining 1 to 2 bullets he needed while they were actually in the air. Booyah now in trouble. Swagg needs to get there. You can hear him saying, come out to me. We need to play together. And it might be this squad on the other side. Missing a ton of bullets, though. We lose one. Sage goes down, and a different squad, a different fight, but a lot of the same. A ton of trouble here in the mid game for several of these teams. We are down to 22 trios out of 30, Tiff, as the action begins to pick up.
Ooh, Symphony the sniper for the trio here. Love that for them. If only that would have connected, that would have been pretty insane, but good positioning here just on the inside of that zone in the suburbs. And smokes are on the horizon. Good comms.
Oh, great.
Okay, see, that's what I was waiting for. We get a knock on to Von Bot.
Great comms for this trio. They've grabbed the knock. An incredible snipe through smoke because of the live ping here from Symphony and Co. Again, Symphony playing with Linen and FIFA Kill. Subbing in for their trio of Jukies. And Symphony's been known to do some crazy things with a sniper, and so far so good. That's 3 eliminations on the side of Symphony, and they've got a nice piece of cover here on edge of zone. They don't get the circle pull though, and the question is how long are they going to spend on the outskirts of this zone holding one of these final remaining players and fiending for a couple kills. They're going to be helpful, but again, Tiff, when we talk about multipliers, we're really looking at top 8. That's what you want to get to, and we still have 20 trios left.
Bombs flying through. Res comes off onto FIFA. They're able to save out that self-res. Now, mind you, it was Symphony who got the knock onto Von Bot, which means Hisoka and Shifty are in the nearby horizon to go up against, even with the likes of FIFA, Lennon, and Symphony. But Lennon has had so much success, and every time they do incredibly well in a tournament, we usually get a splash of Lennon's mom joining in on the celebration. Warms hearts for all.
I've got 5 seconds.
I hope she makes an appearance today, but they're going to need a banger for that to happen. And we'll see if Linden can drop it in this map. This is a tough rotation. I can only imagine there's going to be several teams scoping this area out. They've got to be checking all of their corners, and especially with snipers being one-shot kill, I can't imagine they're going to get there free and clear, even with a couple smokes. We'll see. But as we head into the thick of the action here, edge of the new zone, going into the 5th, Gulag, Long Closed, and Autorize, Mayapo, and Rated have made a return to comp, and this trio is one of the 6 that is going to try to run Urzikstan pockets. We'll see, but here we go.
PKM from a distance, not necessarily going to work out, but all of these skins, let me tell you, are motivating me to finish my Borealis grind because I am slacking. But players that are not slacking, well, that's going to be rated. And I had a chance to sit down with them inside of World Series of Warzone and kind of hear about the prowess, the experience, and everything. And now I'm curious to see what this trio will do in Urzikstan.
It's a great spot to hold. The question, though, is can they get these pickups with this berm? It looks like the players are able to smoke over to the edge of the berm, and now they're in trouble. I still like this spot, and I still think that this spot could be the place to hold going into the next circle, depending on where it rotates to. But they've got a wide open space with not a ton of cover, and they don't get the zone pull. They've got to get these picks as fast as possible. They've grabbed the one knock. This is huge. Clean up these kills and get to moving. Nice cover, a nice trade. One goes down, but might be able to get the res. This should be the 3rd one here, Tiff. This should be a team wipe should these self-revives not go off.
We just need to do it, and there goes the team wipe, and Mayapo hitting that self-res, but a rogue action will take down Rated, who does not have a self-res. Mayapo doesn't get his out, and that's going to be Clutch Belk at the helm of the demise of Rated. Now Autorize, last standing for this squad, and down to 11 teams, which means start thinking about that placement multiplier. If anything, get to that coveted 8th place spot, which will get you 1.3x, but a big 1v2 about to go down on your screen, and Autorize getting peppered from behind, repositioning the durable will be clutch from here. One knock on to Justia, and we fight forward in text to follow.
Durable gas masks are incredibly valuable late game. I don't know if it'll be enough to secure top 8, but it's going to be close. Linen going big here on edge of zone as well, but he's on the inside, and there's still 3 or 4 people on the outside. Linen goes down. Too many to handle, and it is Autorizer, but FIFA does grab the trade. So Autorize, Mayapo, Rated, I think have all been wiped to this point. Just outside of the top 8, we've just hit top 8, and we're at 14 players remaining out of 8 teams. And look who is left. Look, whoever that random chatter was, I think you might have been right. We've got a full team of 3 in some of the final circles here with XLC, and maybe I spoke too soon, but Slacked and Clutch Belk right around the corner playing together.
Huskerrs is probably the scariest boss you'll ever come across in a competition here, but Slacked and Belk
Right on that ping. See that? Another guy on the building in front of us.
chilling, comms flying,
They just got PA'd.
reassessing their strategy here now that we've made it towards the top 8. Now a duo.
Right here, right. On me. Yeah, that's him.
Oh, the distance. It's being clutch. Good Semtex out to try and barricade that push.
I think we just try to we'll try to work away.
They're low on resources here, Tiff. That's the thing I'm worried about. They're playing outer right now. Here's the key. Again, the next multiplier is winning the game. So at this point, any kills that you get are going to be massive, but you've got to go for the win if you want any extra points along the way. Slack, Clutch Belk, low on resources, low on plates, or maybe even completely out. They've got to take down a solo lurking on the outskirts, and I think they might have spotted one. This could be the person they need to grab the loot they need to make it to top 5 or more. Here we go. They get a pick and likely grab the victory, but look who's got high ground. It's Unrational. It's Havoc. They're missing Huskerrs, it looks like, but a duo on high ground. The zone does pull out of this building, though, and I think the team that's on the outskirts likely has the advantage here. 5 teams left, 9 players.
Ooh, clutch on that gas mask find. We started our POV of our first map with Havoc and Co, and now returning towards them as they make their move towards the rotation, hitting the final 5 squads in our first map of the day. The power of friendship, and that's going to be Nick down and out, but the trade comes through, and Unrational will be the last one standing. But look who is still up. This team right here. Crinks as well in the duo form, wiping yet another one. That's going to be a knock on to FIFA. A 10-kill streak with 4 squads remaining.
The young gun with a lot to prove does make it to top 5. A great game, but it is Clutch Belk shutting down Crinks, Aydan, and Hate Adrian. That's a team wipe, but a massive game. I think I saw 22 eliminations. I don't know if I misread that, but that was a ridiculous amount of kills. Here on the other side, though, we're getting a peek at Almond's POV, I believe, with Serve alive as well, spectating from T, and it is going to be Almond last alive for this squad. 3 trios left, 4 players, and Almond's trying to go big by himself. Edge of zone. Serve still up as well. Runs up into somebody, but they get the trade. Serve quickly grabs the W, and now there's a 2v1. If they get this self-revive off, I can only imagine Almond and Serve will win this.
It's a 2v1. They were able to preserve Almond's self-res, and now they think they have the inkling where the final player is. I was shouting out this team inside that pre-broadcast, and when push comes to shove, it's going to be Almond and Serve on the top. Congratulations to Serve, a first-time captain out here celebrating with a win. The dynamic duo to join alongside them, and wow, that was just map 1, Gauche.
Hey, a lot to learn, like we said, and we had a chance to kind of showcase a ton of different perspectives, a ton of different streams, but at the end of the day, it was Almond walking away with the victory, playing with